a piece of equipment from Canada that would allow for the complete recycling of all the used tires, all the plastics, and all the glass that is now going into the landfill. Bear in mind that the glass and the plastics and the tires can be sold to companies that globally are scouring the earth to get that because they actually create new products from it. But also bear in mind, the rubber from the used tires, that piece of equipment would crunch it down to about the size of a piece of gravel, a 3/8 inch gravel or smaller. That can be incorporated either into asphalt or into concrete and be used in the paving of roads, drains, sidewalks, playing fields all over Dominica. These roads, because of the rubberized component drawn from used tires, there would be no potholes that would ever develop in those roads. They would drain better than the asphalt surface roads. They would be safer. Tires on cars would last longer because it's rubber on rubber. And all sorts of additional environmental benefits would occur because those tires, glass, and plastic would be taken out of the waste stream. That proposal at one time was approved by the board of the Solid Waste Management Corporation, but they could not get again the permission from the ministry to use the funds that had been collected as part of the levy. That entire plan, delivered and operational in Dominica, would have cost about 1.2 million EC dollars. In 1 year, literally, the environmental levy from just tires could have paid for that. It did not happen. That is 6 years ago, Matt. There is still an opportunity for Dominica to do that and recycle products to save money, to get better roads. All the feeder roads could be surfaced with that kind of material, and they would be lasting much longer. And you take that out of the landfill would last longer. Matt, all these are solutions that are there. So you ask yourself, what are the people inside of the decision-making structure doing when all these solutions have been presented to them? The cash flow analysis done, the proposals done, the financing identified, and yet it's not done, Matt.
Well, let me tell you though, Arthur, because you made the point about the levy, and I was just reminded, and of course, I think that came up before, that is 1.5% on plastic cups and 3,000 on vehicles, $10 on tires, etc. So a lot of levy is being collected there, I think.
Absolutely, Matt. I mean, on an average now, over 100 cars are imported per month into Dominica. That is 1,200 cars per year times $3,000, Matt. Do the math. So, and this is annually. So, in fact, solid waste, if they were getting these funds, if they were getting these resources, would have had more than enough money to get the equipment that would allow them to clean up Dominica entirely, and, Matt, to create jobs, because the product has to be collected, it has to be transported and delivered to the production and manufacturing site. And guess what? These products have to be sold. They can be sold locally, or they can be exported regionally or otherwise, and earn income. So solid waste, instead of being a burden on the treasury, could end up being a net contributor to the revenue stream of the country. Where are the thinkers, the policy makers, and the technicians and administrators of these kinds of issues at the national level? Why are they not making this happen?
And Arthur, to draw to your point there, that these solid waste workers, I think needs to make a lot more money. I mean, they're doing a very risky job. In the United States, you know that people line up for these jobs, but these guys have been paid peanuts and a lot of health risk. I think that we can do a lot more for these workers. I think I'll come back to you, Brian. Yes,
I agree 100%, Matt, because these guys, and I know them personally, I know many of them personally, and they are exposed to all sort of toxic substances. They are not generally given the right kind of clothing to protect them from those kinds of things. And so, we have to take our hats off to these guys, and we should be rewarding them monetarily much better than they're doing now. But again, it's a question of cash flow, and if the board of the management corporation does not insist on having the money that is due to it to come into its account, then it remains, without the capacity to do that. One more point, Matt. 60%, and you could ask Mr. Scotland, because he used to manage the Solid Waste Management Corporation for a while. The same Mr. Scotland in environmental health. If 60% of all the material by volume and weight that goes into the landfill, Matt, is biodegradable. That is what causes problems with the rotting and the smelling and all of that. Biodegradable stuff, Matt, can be converted into reusable compost that can go into agriculture, Matt. And that was part of the link. Remember at one time we were talking about turning Dominica into an organic island? And a plan was developed for that. The plan exists. That plan was shelved. And that plan anticipated converting all of the degradable waste going into the landfill into a compost fertilizer. So you would have had a totally clean landfill. You'd have created jobs, because compost must be managed, it must be bagged, it must be delivered, and so forth. And all these opportunities for creating a green economy, and the funding to do it exists. It was identified in the Low Carbon Climate Resilient Development Strategy of 2012. And what happened, Matt? Reggie this morning spoke about money from Petrocarib. That's the kind of thing the Petrocarib money can be doing, so that we don't have to borrow money, and that is what it was intended for. It would create jobs, earn income, government would eventually collect VAT, Social Security would collect, and so on. And guess what? We would have been in a position to start repaying Venezuela. That is in a grave situation, because we and many of the other countries benefiting from Petrocarib seem unable or unwilling to repay Venezuela. So, the thing goes full circle, but it was designed to pay for itself. The question then is, it's not a point of pointing blame. I'm not in the blaming game. The question is, people in the private sector, people in civil society, and the public sector can get together and implement this project. The thinking has been done, the analysis has been done, the equipment has been located. All the documentation I'm referring to here is inside of the files of the Solid Waste Management Corporation. In fact, soon after she took up her job as Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, which is responsible for solid waste, Helen Royer, who's a great lady, I have a wonderful relationship with her. She asked me, Afi, could you resend that proposal to me, which I did. I don't know what happened to it, because she wanted the proposal, because I guess as PS of Health, she was thinking as a new PS, why don't I bring this proposal forward and see if the ministry can facilitate? Because the Ministry of Health needs to go to the Ministry of Finance and say, all this environmental levy that you are collecting at the port when it comes in, the customs is collecting it, that levy needs to go into an account of the Ministry of Health, so that it can be transferred to the Solid Waste Management Corporation.
I of course, and we take that point there. Brian, you wanted to make another point. Thank you, Athi. Thank you.
Matt,
yes.
Why we are having this discussion, Matt?
Yes.
It is because of the Zika problem which confronts us now. So we continue to react, Matt.
The Zika problem?
The Zika problem, Matt. So we just reacting to a problem, Matt. When that subsides, Matt, I guarantee you, based even on this, from the solid waste standpoint and the government of Dominica standpoint, people may not like to hear me say that, but I guarantee you things going to go back
to how it
was. And then we faced another threat of epidemic, and then it comes out again, and you hear all these brilliant ideas being rehashed. What Afi is saying, Matt, I think he made the point. These are not ideas which are novel, which are new to us. These are ideas that we've been hearing for years at infinitum, Matt. Okay? And what we're clear about is that the people who are in responsibility position to manage the affairs of the country, they have absolutely no interest in working out those things to make it better for us. We continue to have solid waste problems for years, actually throughout the entire life of this government, Matt. We have been having solid waste management problems, Matt. And that is why, again, I want to put the suggestion there on the table that they ban this constituency association nonsense that they have around the country and direct those funds to the various village councils so that the village councils can purchase small dump trucks, hire more people in the community to assist with the cleaning up and the maintenance of the village roads and that sort of thing, instead of wasting money right now as it is. Otherwise, Matt, if we do not want to consider that proposal, that is a clear area where I've identified that funds are being wasted every month, Matt, to pay secretaries for constituency association office work, actually political work. These funds, Matt, you have in the various constituencies and the average of $2,500, $3,000 per constituency every month. These funds can go towards the various village councils to assist them in developing programs and purchasing resources and equipment that will help them to keep their villages clean, Matt. That is, we have to be practical about that. We cannot just continue making all those brilliant suggestions and so on, and then we see them being neglected. So one of the problems, or the solution to the problems, is to get rid of this incompetent government that has demonstrated that they have no interest in even managing our waste properly. With respect to the funding of the solid waste and the levy, as I say again, and I need to emphasize that, because I don't want to come here and talk and waste my time. What we are dealing with is an accounting problem, a simple accounting problem. If you allocate by law a certain percentage from your customs and so on to go towards solid waste management, right at the point of sales, we're supposed to have computer software there that can do that accounting, and so that at the time of when you're doing your checking up and so on, if it's at every day, month, week, whatever the period is, you'll be able to take solid waste money from your proceeds, you check and transfer it to their account so that they can
give them the piece of the pie,
get their business to do. Simple as that. It's not rocket science that we are talking about. Okay, we're talking about simple things that the government again has demonstrated their unwillingness, Matt, to put in place so that we could have better results in Dominica.
All right, don't forget to check us out on the website q95da.com. Go to the website and click the blue QTV icon and see us live in studio. So it's q95da.com.
Matt, you heard about Ibrahim Dawood? The man they wanted to sue Thompson Fountain for?
Somebody told me about that. Brian, when we come back, you'll talk to us about what you're hearing.
Yeah,
Mr. Dawood?
Yes, Dawood. Yes, they send the Rottweiler this morning to try to distract us, to put us off course. You check? But that's not working, Matt.
We're gonna come back right after this.
This is an employment opportunity announcement. Do you want an exciting career in security? Do you have relatives or friends in Antigua and Barbuda? Then Antigua's largest security company needs you. We are searching for you, professional security officers. Do you have excellent customer service and security skills? Do you possess a school leaving certificate and is above average intelligence? Are you between the ages of 25 and 45, physically fit with excellent interpersonal and communication skills with a neat presentation, willingness and ability to work a flexible roster 7 days a week, a clean police record, along with 2 recent testimonials? Call us today. We want you. If you have previous experience in the security industry, military or law enforcement experience, then that qualifies you for a higher level security position. Please send your resume Fitmap USA to info@specsecservanu, info@specsecservanu, that's specsecservanu.com, care of Mr. Williams, Human Resource Manager. You will be required to undergo police and background checks. You're welcome to call area code 268-462-2772 or 562-5930, fax 562-2272. Special Security Limited, Lower All Saints Road, St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda. Don't delay. Don't miss this employment opportunity.
The Dominica Youth Business Trust announces its Entrepreneurship Development Program, which will run from April 11th to May 6, 2016, and its Small Business Assistance Facility, which will run from June 7th to 9th, 2016. In this regard, applications are invited from young men and women aged 18 to 35 who are interested in starting or developing their small businesses. Application forms can be obtained at the Dominica Youth Business Trust Office on 42 Kennedy Avenue and Youth Development Division on 3 Charles Avenue, Goodwill, or from District Youth Development Officers. Application forms should reach the Dominica Youth Business Trust no later than Monday, 29th February 2016.
Brighter Days, the one-stop shop for your baby diapers, wipes, cleaning products, grocery items, and bulk or wholesale items. Located on the corner of Great George and Hillsborough Streets by the All Saints Medical School. Visit us today. Open Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Telephone number is 448-1636. Brighter Days.
Okay, before we do this, let's do this again. To see us live here, go to q95da.com. Scroll down to the new YouTube video stream banner on the right corner of the screen to view us live. Okay, so it's the new YouTube video stream banner at the right corner of the screen, and you'll see us live in studios. We're going to come back, Dominica, after this.
Dominicans, there is another mosquito-borne disease called Zika. Zika disease is caused by the virus of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, the same mosquito that carries dengue and chikungunya. Zika can cause pregnant mothers to have babies with very small heads and other deformities. Avoid mosquito bites. Avoid Zika. Zika can cause you to get red eye, rash, fever, headache, swollen hands and neck. You can also get diarrhea, stomach pain, and vomiting. Most people will not show signs and symptoms but may still have Zika. Remember, Zika can cause pregnant mothers to have babies with very small heads and other deformities. So pregnant mothers and those planning to get pregnant, protect the unborn, avoid mosquito bites, avoid Zika.
Thank you so much. We're talking about revenue, Brian, a few minutes ago for the solid waste department. I'm learning here from a source that one agency in Dominica may be owing the solid waste department. I'm not going to be calling names at this time, but eventually I may have to. Over $1 million. You know, every week there is rubbish, if you will, a waste from cruise ship. And these cruise ships send their waste or whatnot. The solid waste department should be collecting. And I've been told that they've been owed 1.5.
Matt, I don't believe you. You know why?
Over $1 million.
Matt, every day you have this man from Solid Waste Management.
Yes.
I've never heard him complain about that.
Why?
And that is significant to me.
It is.
If you're saying that you're cash strapped, my brother, you understand what I'm saying? And then an important business organization in Dominica owes you $1.5 million. I would like to imagine that you, when you're making public presentations, that you at least
you'll be asking,
and you probably even do it like Matt. So probably Matt is teaching you how to do it. You know, indicate to us that those are monies owed to you without even calling the organization.
I'm not saying. I'm hoping, Brian, that these cruise ships are not the ones owing.
Well, Matt,
I won't think so.
I won't think so.
I'm hoping that these cruise ships are not the one owing.
But Matt, it's hard to believe that the cruise ships will be the ones owing, because the cruise ships were the very ones complaining about the unsanitary conditions of Dominica.
Okay, here we are trying to make a case for you.
Exactly.
And the cruise ships or whoever may be owing you over $1 million. That needs to be collected, Brian.
I could imagine the cruise ships will be disappointed that the people to whom they pay these monies do not pay them.
If they have paid, Brian.
That's why I don't believe that, Matt.
You don't believe that? You think the cruise ship has paid?
Because Geno should say something, Matt. So or Geno can call us now and confirm what you're saying there, Matt, whether it's true or not, because I really don't believe that, Matt, because
you don't believe
Genu and the other solid waste officials, they're too silent on that.
Are they protecting people, Brian?
But Matt, they're too probably Lennox owe them, Matt, probably Lennox or Thompson Fountain that owe them.
They would come after him, huh?
Long time.
Hello, talk to me, hi.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. And
yes,
public. A blessed and peaceful afternoon. That is the hypocrisy and the double standard I cannot take. Because if it was a barefoot man that was doing that money, every newspaper his name would publish on it. Every radio talk his name would be published on it. Too much secrecy in this country, and that is why we are where we are. To know where.
Solid Waste, if you know something about this, please let the people of Dominican know.
Matt, she talk about secret.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, can I?
Yes, you can go ahead, Brian. But I think somebody else is in the line. I'm gonna look. I know you want to talk about.
To interact with my brother.
I know that he looks. He almost looks like a Muslim.
That's right, Matt. He's a holy man.
Let's take about a phone call before we move on. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mark. And how are you?
Good.
While Mr. Mark they're doing a cleanup, I gladly to say about that dangerous mosquito. But what I'm looking forward, I want to, at Loda, as you know, dam like have two dam functioning and that have water. So I wonder, after we clean that, I want them to monitor that dam because, I mean, if we clean and that dam functioning, remember, you cannot cover the dam, so they have to monitor that dam.
All right, well, I'm hoping that they monitor, and I'm hoping too that there are no mosquitoes here. But Brian, you need to talk about this new revelation. I see you pull your chair back. What's going on, Brian?
I want to say one more little thing.
On what?
On that
solid waste?
Yes, on that Zika business. Based on the call you got this morning, Matt. Some caller called you this morning to report the situation at the Moroccan hotel, Matt.
Yes.
The water
in the basement there.
Yeah, it has become a mosquito breeding ground.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was reporting, you were telling us that the Genu and his guys, they were taking notes, Matt.
Yes.
I am just wondering if those notes have been conveyed.
Well, I saw Mr. Scotland taking some notes.
Yes, to check if they have been conveyed to Ian Douglas and to the Minister of Health and to Mr. Skerritt and to the Moroccans, Matt, that they have a mosquito
breeding ground
there, Matt. And, you know, Matt, that is really cause of concern. So I just want to highlight that, Matt, so that the officials, especially the people of Portsmouth, can take note of that the Moroccan hotel has become a mosquito breeding ground, endangering the lives of the Portsmouth people. Matt, I have an article here from the internet entitled "Wanted Criminal Has Dominican Passport," and it is from a publication entitled The Economic Times of India.
Okay.
And it was an article published in December of 2015. Now, the Economic Times of India, Matt, is a publication which reaches millions of people, Matt, because you know India has a very large population. I think the second largest population in the world.
After China.
After China. And the article, I just want to read just one excerpt from that article, especially in light of the fact that we know that the government officials have taken Thompson Fountain to court, because one of the things that Thompson Fountain revealed to us some time back, a couple of years now, was that this international criminal from India was in possession of a Dominican passport. And the government, Mr. Skerritt and his gang, they were so mad with Thompson for making that statement that they brought Thompson to court, and there are cases before the court. And I hope the judges and the other lawyers involved in that case is listening to that excerpt that I'm about to read from the Economic Times of India. It says there, Dawood Ibrahim, the Mumbai gang leader who fled India in 1986, has also been identified as the mastermind behind the serial bomb blast in India's commercial capital in 1993 that killed at least 257 people. Since then, he lived in Dubai and Pakistan as a fugitive, while maintaining his grip on organized crime in Mumbai and expanding into other areas. Dawood has at least a dozen aliases with passports from India, Dubai, and Pakistan. Indian agencies said he also acquired a passport of the Commonwealth of Dominica. I want to read that again. Indian agencies said that he, Dawood Abraham, also acquired a passport of the Commonwealth of Dominica, a Caribbean island issued under its economic citizenship program. Matt, another criminal. They refer to him there, not Thompson Fountain, who is referring to him as such, Lennox or Edison or Matt or Q95, That is the Economic Times of India.
Economic Times.
Yeah,
that's a powerful,
reaching millions of
prominent
people.
newspaper.
Yes, they say Dawood is a gang leader, Matt, a criminal, a mastermind.
So I guess he will
murderer.
He will go after Thompson too.
Matt, Thompson needs to be concerned, Matt. And again, Matt, that is what we are saying, This due diligence they're talking about, Matt, one of our callers again put it in the right perspective. Due diligence is done, but it's a due diligence to seek out criminals, Matt. So that is why they are going in all thick way, all over the world, in search of crooks and criminals to sell passports to them, Matt. I wonder what Tony Astafan is saying about this revelation now, Matt.
Dion, how concerned are you about our passports being sold? They say like hot bread.
Well, in these days and time we are in, if this is happening, man, with the ISIS situation and those things there, we got to be concerned because we don't know who are these individuals. And if in case their name comes out in some kind of criminal activity and they have a Dominican passport, they'll be looking at Dominica. So we have to be concerned. So if there's a good individual out there that's honest and truth, I guess that person can get a Dominican passport. I guess so. You got
But Dion is saying that with a straight face. That's
you mean he said that if you're straight you can't?
No, because the point Dion is making is that the crooks and criminals seem to be getting it so easy. So the people who are straight and above board supposed to be just getting that as a wink, but Dion, boy, I dream on, my brother.
We're taking a break and coming back after this. Take your phone calls.
Brighter Days, the one-stop.
Talk on the block, Brian. I haven't heard your voice as it relates to this new
Penville?
Yes, this new youth program in Penville. Are you remaining silent on this one?
I want to respond like that, madam. I respond in my hand.
Oh, okay. You were anticipating I would ask you a question like this, Brian.
Matt, can I go on?
Yes, go ahead.
And I quote Matt.
Yes.
For the United Workers' Party Team Dominica, agriculture is central and critical to Dominica's short and long-term development strategy. Thus, tremendous effort will be placed on revitalization of this sector in order to stimulate the rural economy. This will involve improved land management, direct support to farmers and fishermen, technology development, and improvement in agriculture and fisheries infrastructure in order to enhance productivity and production volumes. In addition to revitalizing our traditionally successful agricultural products, we will reopen the sector for successful niche business in select global markets for high-value products like coconut oil, cocoa essential oils, bee oil, vetiver, patchouli, lemongrass, and wellness herbs like industrial and medicinal marijuana, ginger, mint, cumin, and basil. End of quote. Matt, you know where I was reading from? That's just an excerpt, Matt, from the United Workers' Party budget statement response. That was July 22nd, 2014, Matt. Okay? So when Mr. Skerritt comes up in a vai trying to play politics and just without any plan, without any policy, gives $100,000 of our money to his friends in vacas under the disguise of young farmers, Matt, we know that is bogus and that is a fake. We heard from the Honorable Hector John yesterday identifying the individuals, the friends of Skerritt who received those funds. We heard of some of those people who received those funds, they do not even reside in Dominica, Matt, much less to be farming in Dominica. So we know that is a hoax, and that has been publicized as such for how you call that, Matt? Political propaganda, to gain political mileage, to give the appearance that they're interested in agriculture, when all the records and documents state clearly, Matt, that they have no interest in the agricultural sector. They have professed that, Matt, and they have actually demonstrated that by their inaction. Look at, for example, in Marigot, one of the most productive farming communities, Matt. Our feeder roads are in a dilapidated condition, appalling condition for years now. We have been begging the farmers of Sunley, Craig, Coffee, all of these productive areas, they have been really out of production. Production has been significantly reduced in these areas because of the poor feeder road condition. And the government continues to neglect these farmers, Matt. So we know that they really do not have any interest, any genuine interest in developing.
But Mr. Austri was saying this morning, yes, Penville may have gotten this first.
Yes.
There are others to follow. There may be others to follow, Brian.
That's the technique, Matt. It's a technique of deception, because even again, the point I'm making, Matt, nothing is going to happen in Penville, Matt, because nothing has been happening in the agricultural sector across the country. Matt, look at our production level. Right now, we are not exporting one banana to England, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
We have a situation, for example, we heard them lamenting, even with the distribution of agricultural inputs, fertilizers, and so on. Okay, you've heard that distribution, instead of it is being managed by extension officers who are working with the farmers, who are trained to work with the farmers and working in the agricultural sector. That distribution of fertilizer is managed by operatives of the Dominica Labour Party in the various constituencies. Okay, so again, a clear sign, Matt, that they have absolutely no interest in doing practical things to move the agricultural sector forward. They are only interested in coming and spreading empty, baseless propaganda. And at the end of the day, when you try to measure the performance, Matt, you find that they have achieved absolutely nothing, Matt. Okay? And that is the reality that we are faced with.
Let's take a phone call.
Hi, Matt and Brian. And
yes.
The young man, good day.
Deal.
I'm glad you brought back that topic, because I wanted to call this morning. I did not hear the first time when people were calling and talking about the farmers. But Mr. Austri this morning said that one of the things I guess he perceived that was wrong is that the money did not come from government. This was a petrol-carried money. That's what he said, right?
Yes.
But I looked back on DA Vibes and also on Dominican News Online, and I don't know if Brian heard it on DBS. There's no way in any of the statements saying that the money came from Petrocari. I'm not saying that it shouldn't come. What I'm saying is that when reporters go to those meetings and those little things come out, like the money came from Petrocari, let us know, so then people wouldn't call the radio and say, oh, they're taking government money, or they'll say it's Petrocari money. Because, Mr. Austri, if you're listening, give the people a break, because nowhere, not even from DA Vibes, that people sailing in towards government, was it written in the article that the money came from Petrocarib. So the public has to take it to mean that the money came from government. Have a good day.
Thank you. You agree, Brad?
Yes, Matt, I agree 100%, because we're talking about a government which operates a consolidated fund. There are no separate accounts. So all funds received by the government goes into that consolidated fund. We're talking also about Mr. Austri, the self-proclaimed Rottweiler. He is the Minister of Petrocarib from the inception of Petrocarib, you know, Matt. For some strange reason, he must always maintain that portfolio as Minister of Petrocarib. He was sick the other day. They didn't even get somebody to act as Minister of Petrocarib, you know. So we need to ask ourselves the question right now. Who is paying Reggie Austri for his services as a Minister of Government? Is it the Commonwealth of Dominica or is it the Petrocarib, Matt? Because you see, he seems to even be presenting it as if Petrocarib is a separate entity, Matt. But he is the Minister of Petrocarib. So tell us what's going on, Reggie. Come on back again, my brother.
Hello, talk to me here. We're approaching the end of today's Talk on the Block.
Yes, Matt Peltier, Brian Linton, and my trucker man. How are you brothers doing?
Yeah, good, man. We good.
Real good,
Yes,
real good, my brother.
Tell Brian I'm watching him live and direct down there, but the time is running out. I wanted to ask a question about the farmers in the Vauxhall area. That is a critical area, and Brian, that is the next focus point in Dominica for the UWP and concerned Dominican. We got to wake up and do something about that piece of area up there.
Vauxhall, Brian, you want to approach that?
Yeah, Matt, his father, this man, Mr. Mari,
yes,
one of the biggest farmers in Dominica, Matt, his vehicle has been locked in that area since Erica, Matt, in the Vauxhall area. And Roosevelt Skerritt and his gang has not found it fit yet to bring relief to us, Matt. But, Matt, when we act, Matt, in Marigot, because we have hospital, our hospital continues to be neglected and dilapidated. Our vehicles continue to be bathed in sea salt, Matt. Matt, you see how much we take in, Matt? We just taking, Matt. Our village council and all our other institutions have been neglected. They do not give us any money, Matt. Whenever they go into the various villages, you hear they give village councils how much 100,000 by there, how much million by there, and so on, but not a black cent for the Marigot constituency, Matt. And I just hope, Matt, the people of Dominica are observing how much we are taking. The people of Skerritt, we are taking until, Matt, we cannot take anymore.
One final phone call. Hey, Rusty up in the New York area there, Queens area. Good to know that you're back in the big city. He just, Dion told me that he has landed in the big city.
Oh, it's beautiful.
He enjoyed his holiday in Dominica.
I know he enjoyed it. He wish he could have stayed another week. No, man, I'll send him some sunshine, man. My brother Rusty.
Hello.
Yes, blessings again. The clock is ticking on the wall. They can fool some people sometimes. They cannot fool all the people all the time. And the more they wriggle, the deeper they sink this corrupt communist government.
Hello, talk to me here. Yes.
Matt, Mr. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay for now.
Yeah, Mr. Matt, let me just say good afternoon to your colleagues, Mr. Linton and the other.
Dion, yes.
West. Right, I know, Mr. Peltier, I'm sort of disappointed in you. For the simple reason that you continue to allow individuals like Mr. Linton to continue to call individuals names without any remorse or any review as to how these individuals.
Give me an example, please. An example, please.
Mr. Peltier.
An example, please.
Mr. Spags John.
What's that?
Call a police officer's name, making all sorts of.
No. I asking you for an example. Because you're accusing Brian of making statements. I want you to give me an example of a name that I allowed him to use. Yes, go ahead.
To you, Mr. Peltier, I'm just saying to you that one.
I guess you're behaving just like Brian. You're making statements that you can't support that. All right. Well, try to call me back when you can give me the example. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Matt. In conclusion, because I see we are out of time here, Matt. Matt, the next time you talk to Mr. Reggie Austri, the self-proclaimed Rottweiler.
He called himself that.
Thank you very much. And I hope that caller got that message. Matt, one of the things you need to ask the gentleman is to ask him about his health, his physical condition. This gentleman, Reggie Austri.
I did this morning. He said he's doing okay.
Yeah, Matt, but we need to be more specific in terms of the nature of the operation, the length, why he had to be out of office.
So you want these questions answered?
Definitely, Matt. If he's feeling well, if the foot is cured, you check what type, how many stitches that he has in his foot. You check.
You think the people of Dominica has to know all of the details?
Well, I want to know that, Matt, because this man is getting a medical allowance at our expense, at the taxpayers' expense, and they get on like as though the money that they're getting, it comes from Roosevelt's scary pocket, Matt. And that, that's nonsense, Matt.
This is it for us for today. Dion, it was a pleasure. Hope to see you sometime.
Likewise, my brother, I was going to be tuning into the big station.
All
you know
the
what I'm
time.
saying? Whether I'm there physically, but spiritually, I'll still be around.
It was a pleasure, my brother. Enough respect.